Hello there, and welcome back to Corey Luce's, where today we are once again continuing our Thrawn's Revenge 3.2 former preview playthrough as the Hapes Consortium. In the last episode, we took Bastion, we took Lyanna into Sevro. We've made things pretty tough for a lot of our enemies. Today, we are going to continue with the crushing of the major Pentastar alignment planets still. We're going to keep building up some infrastructure around here. And we are also going to try to take Hast and Mon Calamari. So Mr. Gray's fleet is going to be going to Mon Calamari. And then Hesha and Astarta are going to be taking Entrala and Yaga Minor. So I think what we're going to start with is probably Entrala. I'm kind of thinking going around to Yaga Minor there, but I'm resisting the temptation. So Lovett, come back. Or Livette, not Lovett. There's Hesha Lovett, and then there's Livette, which are two different characters. But we will build a few more of everything. Utrick, you're going to have high enough influence for a tax agency. And we get one Maluri. We've got a few Galni that we're building over here. Or recruiting, you're not building them. And get the main Hapen ones over there, as well as over here. Well, I'll cancel all the other ones then on Hapes. I'd like to do the same thing I've done with the Republic logos and the CIS logos and Thrawn's Revenge for the Hapen House logos to show you like which house has the land grant there. That'd make it a lot easier. I'm also considering putting the infantry back on the single barracks, like no matter which house has the planet, and going back to them costing influence. But I kind of like that it's making you build more barracks in a lot of places, because that like roundabout way reinforces building the infantry. But I'm not 100% sure what we'll do. That should be good. We had a good amount of Water Dragon still. I think we had two. But let's go in on Entrala. You are... No, we're out of money. Never mind. We built so many structures in the last one galactic week. But I think we can get our income up to about 17,000, 18,000 if we spend some more money on tax agencies and trade ports. I haven't really been going super hard on the economy as much as I could have. This is a pretty varied fleet for them. And I don't know if they have a ground-to-space weapon, which is what I'm kind of afraid of right now. But let's go with Solace. We don't have a lot of anti-fighter on this either. But we have a good amount of carriers. So Solace, our mist carrier, Starta, love it. Dowager Queen, Royal Potato Freighter, Eldeo, Streetcar named Desire, Nor, It's Fine, Cinderella, Streetcar named Marge reference, Hugo, that should be enough to get started on. Sandwich of Death, Bahamut, Imagine Dragon, Dragon Wagon, Rise of the Planet of the Hapes, Andromeda Queen. Alright. Like, we're gonna have a lot of fighters too. We'll probably have more up front than them. The problem is just they're gonna have more reserves than us. So we need to try to kill some of the carriers before we kill a lot of the fighters. Killerbin says, "Good morning, sir. I have a question to you. Both your mods and some of the excellent sub-mods have more variants of the IST1 and 2. Have you considered any thought to allowing such variants to be regularly produced, perhaps through events and research?" They would generally not be regularly something we'd make be regularly produced unless it's like a core part of a faction. Usually they just are used for special unique stuff. Because if you have a bunch of units that are that visually similar being produced the same way, then it can be a lot harder to keep track of. Like, it can also be hard for people to notice that the individual ones are different, but when they're mostly just there for flavor, it's not as big of an impact if it's unclear to people that one thing is different. So you kind of cover up for the gameplay downsides with the fact that it is more of a flavor element. So it's the kind of thing that, like, maybe there'd be some that are okay for, like, mission rewards. They're usually for hero flagships, or sometimes it'll be like a full swap or something. But it's usually not something that you want to make be too widespread. Like, it can already be difficult for people to tell the difference between a Star Destroyer, ISD-1, ISD-2, Tector, and then you have, like, VSD-1, VSD-2, where, like, VSD-1 and VSD-2 are actually quite different from each other, but they look identical. And that's usually not great for gameplay. Like, usually the factions that have the most unique profiles are the stuff that we design ourselves, because, like, we're designing it for the purpose of working for gameplay. Like, you're very rarely going to confuse one Hapen ship for another, and even the Empire of the Hand ships, which are a bit more similar, the actual silhouette of the ships is quite different. So that's a thing that, like, authors who are writing about the 30-second variation of an ISD that's come up in 6 pages don't really have to worry about as much. So, like, it's cool to have the nods to those kinds of things, because having that variation in some way can be its own net gameplay benefit, because you're seeing more different stuff as you're progressing through the game. But it's not the kind of thing that you want to overload the build bar with, and that's something that we've. It's a problem you can even run into with infantry, where, like, it's harder to tell the difference for what an infantry type does, because it's less clear just from the uniform, which is why we've got, like, the extra pips under them, and in some cases we've added them to the icon. I want to do that in more places, and I want to do some pips on the container, or the companies for the infantry. It's something that Phoenix Rising does, Bob does in Phoenix Rising, where for those, it's just for visibility for the infantry themselves, where he'll put, like, a little infantry pip above it, because it can be quite hard to see the infantry in Phoenix Rising. But I want to use kind of the same principle to show primary role or something like that. But yeah. That was probably a lot more information than was really asked for in the question, but it was a lot of connected thoughts. So I hope that long rambling response at least gave the answer to the question, to the original question. Let's get some individual targeting of a few of these before we start losing any of our units to the turbo lasers. We don't need to do, like, one on each weapon, but I think just to be on the safe side, we can probably get a lot out of there. EA carrier fleet versus Hapen fleet. A lot of fire lag that's going to happen there. Like, the heavies are less reliably going to be targeting the Stellas, which are kind of what I'm worried about right now. And that one's even getting some health back, or some shields back. So I think we're past the point of most danger for a lot of it. I was a little bit worried about Astarta, but she's fine now too. It's actually a pretty nice shot. Okay, there's a lot of bombers coming in. Which no, actually no, that they're fine. They're not going to get in. I'm going to try to keep our fighters back a little bit because they're getting to the point where they're going to start suffering a lot of attrition. Like, we've lost a lot of our bombers. So I'm just going to try to keep them in where they're not going to be threatened too much by the raiders that are remaining around there. The faction that I'm most worried about for visibility with, like, silhouettes and stuff is the Siruvi. Like, the Vong are gonna be really easy to handle that with, where we can make them look really weird and just shit jutting out everywhere. It's gonna be some similar design language, but hopefully enough of a different silhouette that it's not a problem. But the Siruvi, everything's a fucking egg. So it's like triangles, but worse. Icicle's asking, will there ever be an X2 Deep Rock Galactic stream? It's a fun game I think you, Charlie, and Eck will enjoy. I actually streamed that with Wasted and Shaq after one of the old tabletop streams once. So it's not impossible. I don't know if Eck and Charlie would be as up for it. I did enjoy it. Like, I'd be up for playing it with Shaq and Wasted again if they were ever going to do it, but... That poor Stella. Not that one. Well, that one's kind of hurt too, but this one. You can keep hearing me take screenshots.
Should we go around for another pass? That's got him. Look out! That's got him. That's it. Scratch one. Targeting. That's it. Scratch one.
We really need to stop these enforcers from killing everything. I've been letting them get away with too much. Once we actually start targeting them, they don't live as long, but I think we still lost another Stella to it. If I'd sent our smaller ships in, like the Alangis, and I think we have a Charuba somewhere. No, just the two Alangis. They would have been able to pick apart some of those for us earlier, but I didn't even notice that enforcer early enough. Get back there. I probably could have had the second tender up a bit farther sooner. Alright, these fighters can start going back in. I think we're killing a lot of the raiders on our way towards the station. And that's what I was afraid of having our fighters run into. Are you coming for the Magnetar? I don't know what you were aiming for, but you missed it. So, congratulations. Oh, did we already... We ran out of music. Because we've got the... this will already have happened by the time we get to this episode being posted on YouTube, but this Friday we are going to be doing the usual X2 stream. I'm not sure what we're actually doing for it. I think it might be Fortnite, From my end, that's going to be part of the 12-hour 40k celebration.
Let's do some damage. Heading out. Attack.
But Fortnite Star Wars skins were on sale, so we all bought some of those.
Let's move out. Let's go. Reporting in. Keep your eyes open. I've been hit. Ready for command. Keep going. Got a thing. Scanner contact behind me. Fire. Try not to let one on your tail. On my
Alright,
tail.
those all got the...
Swing around. That's it. Scratch
I don't think the goal is not gonna kill anything
I need help
we
here.
have there.
Encountering resistance.
We can just go for the shipyard now. We've killed all the garrisons, so it's fine.
Got it lined up.
What are you gonna HV gun?
On my tail. Enemy unit disabled. Try not to let one on your tail.
I feel like they're aiming for Astarta.
That's got him.
Yeah, they're trying to aim for Astarta, but she keeps moving.
No good. I can't maneuver. Look out.
What's one ship you want to add to the mod, but its addition would be redundant, or you can't find a place to add them?
Coming around.
I don't know that there is any specific ship from the era where, like, I'd really want to add it, but we just can't find a place. Because, like, usually that kind of thing ends up being done in, like, either a story event or...
That's got him.
Like, there's usually some way to work it in that doesn't
Try not to let one on your tail. I'm in range. Close. Attack that
step
target.
on anything's toes. There's some new canon ships that, like, we won't necessarily have a place for. Like, I like a lot of the designs in The Last Jedi, except for the Mandator 4. Like, a lot of the Resistance designs that I just really enjoy and would love to have somewhere that just don't really fit because we're not doing a sequel trilogy mod there. Those are probably the biggest examples, so, like,
Targets incoming.
not fitting for reasons of
Cover me.
wrong continuity or
Six.
wrong time period. Like some stuff from Tor or from like really old times that it's just there's not as reasonable a way to fit it in. But even with that latter category, sometimes it's like, oh well, if we really want to do a
Lined up.
some like T&E specific stuff, there's ways
They're coming around.
we can just
I need help here.
say like, oh well, they're very traditional, so they don't mind it.
Six. Attack formation. Got one. Rendezvous at Mark 6.1.
Ugh. Never the Nebulon B2. We lost Cinderella, It's Fine, Streetcar Named Desire, and Nor. 4 Stellas for that, I think, is not too bad. But it does mean we've lost a lot of our carriers. Before we go in, I do want to get some spies.
Adjusting navicomputer. Location confirmed.
Like, I want to see what we can do with that.
Beginning construction.
Reporting.
Construction complete.
Firing main thrusters.
I think we have enough to take the planet, but I just want to be sure before we go in and overcommit to something bad. Yeah, like that's the capital. It's going to be kind of rough. We should probably queue up a few more units too, but that's probably more of a thing to do after we've cleared this sector. We've got some unrest on Meridoon because of the fleet that's blockading us. So we'll need to get them out of there. Well, with a lot of the new canon stuff, there's also the option of doing a sub mod with just more of it, like how we've done for the MC-75 and how the Starhawk's being added for that. Like, it's not impossible that we'd be able to do, like, even if we never get to a First Order Resistance War, that we have a sub-mod and with those ships in it. Because ultimately, it's about doing shit that's fun. Got our trade ports on a lot of those. Ethor, that can be a trade port, and we'll probably just want to take Selagus just for that. I don't think Slaheron getting a trade port works.
Beginning construction.
Some of these planets can get trade ports.
Started. Building under
Do.
construction.
I'm just gonna auto-resolve against those two.
T2B over.
Would there be any way to play the vanilla and Zan campaigns with the Thrawn's Revenge features? Not really. That would take a lot of work trying to set up.
Construction complete.
Tactical battle imminent. Construction complete.
Like, a lot of the mechanics work very differently. We don't have certain stuff from the base game. You'd have to, like, completely reimagine them for the mod, which would be a lot of work in itself. Like, the time and effort it would take to
Beginning construction.
do that would be really better off
Building
spent
started.
just making our own story missions, which is what we're doing instead.
Construction complete.
Right away.
Ultimately, it would just be like a better looking base game one.
Construction complete.
Construction complete.
Moving into position. On my way.
Beginning
Building
construction.
started.
I think Selagus is going to give us a lot of money if we can
Building started.
take it.
Building under construction.
All right, I'll bring the Galney troopers over,
Destination acquired.
then we can invade. We've got a lot of industrial parts. We could use some more
Building
food.
started.
I have an ion cannon here, right? Yeah. Get some more food
Building
on
under construction.
main Hapes as well. Okay. Where's our nearest shipyard? I think we did get one on one of these planets, or on Ord-Trassi. Cool. So I'll move Kachum back over.
Moving to destination.
We've already got the station coming up there.
Destination acquired.
And we'll queue up a few units. So we'll get
Constructing
Whip
unit.
Black Hole. It's a regular pulsar. We'll get Bane of Moncal. The pulsars are going to be super useful for going up against the shipyards there. And as many of the carrier types as we can. So let's get what's happening, hot stuff. What's happening here. The theme going on. Because once we're up against Yaga Minor, well, they've only got a level 2 shipyard, or level 2 station, plus the shipyard there. That won't be too horrible.
Reporting.
Tactical battle imminent.
We've come across enemy units.
Icicle's asking, I know this is supposed to be after the second Death Star. Are there any ideas for Rogue One submod? Maybe not K2 or the pilot as combat heroes. Be cool to see Baze Malvis and Chirrut, maybe in the U-Wing. U-Wing would be another potential unit for
Choose your reinforcements.
for inclusion in the cannon unit submod, unless it's just a thing that we save for the cannon side of Imperial Reign. Because like we are going to be doing a Galactic Civil War era mod, which will have the cannon side to it. So heroes are typically less likely for some mods because, well, ground heroes, because it's a lot of art assets for something that's kind of secondary. So it's less of an opposition to the idea of having, say, the Bad Batch, or if we weren't doing Imperial Reign, Rogue One stuff in as heroes. It's more that character models are so rare as it is. We have so much we need to do for like Revan's Revenge and for like basic factional stuff that's really important to gameplay that we need to do, that trying to put them in would be quite difficult. Let's take the ground here. We might be able to take out Yaga Minor with what we have. I'm going to build a probe droid and check that out too. Are there any plans to add the Maelstrom to Fall of the Republic? Yes. That will hopefully be in 0.3. There's a first pass concept that Valerie did a while back that will kind of be the basis for it. We're not doing the, I guess, versions that have been floated around on usually lore channels that have kind of made their own versions of it or simple versions of it. Because I know like Ek did a video on one, I think Space Doc did or something.
Invasion commencing.
Okay, so they have the, well, just the faction capital, the planetary capital, the barracks for units. We will have to take out the hypervelocity gun before we can do any orbital bombardments, but it's not as bad for garrisons as everything else.
It is about time. Ready, as you wish.
Moving out.
Awaiting your command.
Get one of you over there,
What is my next
rest of you up
objective?
on that. I think we'll want recruit for this. And we'll have some artillery supporting from this side
Do you have
too.
a plan?
As you wish.
Vork,
Adjusting navigation.
Water Dragon, Fire Dragon. Get a little bit of everything. We should have 2 field bases from it.
I'm here.
We might be able to turn into 3.
Yes. Acknowledged. What
Heading
is
out.
it, Commander? Right away.
Ready to receive order.
What is your order? Moving.
Yes, sir.
If I must.
'Cause we'll be able to land more infantry types with the second landing zone.
Lancet standing by.
Fear nothing.
Let's pull back just a little bit then.
I am waiting.
Aerial artillery reporting.
And you're probably just dead. Yep.
On my way.
Rip.
It will be done. It is about time.
If there were a Bad Batch somewhat, would that include Echo? Probably.
Ready. I will.
The only reason it wouldn't would be because that's an extra infantry model.
Right away. Heading out, sir. Right away.
Reinforcements en route.
Course
Maximum
plotted.
unit capacity.
Reporting in.
Right, most of their forces appear to be on this side. We did a decent amount of damage with what we sent in, but still a lot.
Reporting.
Nope, you were supposed to stay back. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is my next objective? Move into that location.
Should be able to go in with the infantry on this side, and
Do you have a
Galmy?
plan?
Unit
Right out, man.
Get back to where you can heal.
Construction complete.
They have a low enough firing rate. That, oh,
Yes.
that's actually a lot too.
Heading in that direction. Of course.
Get back.
What is it, Commander? What is your order? I will be there soon.
Fall out, troops.
This seems like another place for artillery.
Where's the next target?
Seems like we're actually doing pretty well on this side.
Bombing run
Okay, let's see what the Vision wants to give us.
Sensor
Not the Marvel Vision, the other one.
Awaiting instructions. So be it.
I'll use her ping on this. Just the tax agency.
Reporting.
I am waiting. As you wish. I will kill them. What you wish.
With most of these being infantry, I made the wrong choice in the field base.
Heading out, sir. I copy, Commander.
It is about time.
Alright, well, we're doing okay on it. We've got Livette. Just having a hero in there is always nice. Now that we've got the extra vision, letting our longer range stuff go in there too.
Yes, sir.
That's handy.
Advancing.
Okay, the TIE crawlers are gonna do worse against these. No, you wanna keep helping the people over here. That's why you're over here. No, don't run us over.
Keep going.
They won't escape.
Fire! Ready for action.
unit destroyed.
Roger that. Gold
Well, I may as well just use that. That might die to the AA turret. I hope not.
Move out. Run.
But we've made it over the bridge.
Enemies in range.
Let's put
Right away.
a little bit more on this side. Okay, back off.
All right, man. Get going.
You can go faster on your way out. I don't think we're gonna beat the siege tower with that whole fight going on right now, so we're just gonna try to
Over there. This way.
pull back a little bit, kill what we can on this side, and then we'll go back in units altogether. We've got that now. I guess here. Is that... Okay, that's the Moth Palace, so you've got to be the main capital. Now, please die.
What is your order?
Infantry in there.
Roger that. Pull 'em up.
You never actually deployed. Oops.
Where is the next target?
But I think the infantry are handling it pretty fine. So we'll go on the vehicle side with these. Hit it while it's undeployed.
What do you need? Heading up.
Okay, we don't need to destroy the tax agency. That might bring the locals more on our side,
Will know fear.
but it's not the most helpful thing to destroy first.
Slow. Fire at will.
Instructions. I will kill them.
Attacking.
Okay, we've managed to bring all of our stuff back together. So this artillery
Location.
and the other water dragon can just come up now. And the rest of you can too.
Moving to destination. Over
I
there.
am waiting. On my way.
I'll follow your lead. I copy.
Alright, we had to make sure all of this stuff was up here to kill the
What do you wish?
one turret. That one. We do need to take out this AA turret before the Vorks come in and I just
Will not survive.
get them killed passively. Passive Vork attrition. All my air units hating me again for ignoring their needs. There it is. Okay, will I actively get them to hate me this time? No.
Affirmative. We're
almost dead.
Awaiting your orders.
Yeah, I think the barracks we should probably kill first. It's gonna be weaker. Some stuff is just gonna be attacking the government building by default, accidentally, which is fine. But we should be able to kill the barracks and get rid of the infantry first. Here we go. Alright. That's the Pentastar capital. We'll have to see what Jägerminer has, but that was pretty smooth for a capital invasion, especially one with as many choke points as that map can have. That could have been much worse. If they'd had more like production structures or more stuff built up, it probably would have taken some more shelling before we were able to move in. But it is a map where like artillery will be pretty effective regardless. So we want to get a probe droid to check out Jägerminer. And then most of what's left up here we'll probably be able to leave for now. Because like, we can just put some defensive structures on the planets and they won't be able to build up on level 1 and 2 stations enough without us noticing. So we can come back through. Alright, we do need...
Construction complete.
Unit
We'll cancel one of those so we can get a probe droid going.
Vehicle in production.
Right away.
Construction complete. Construction complete.
The Empire took Typhera back. They're all still struggling down here. Rita almost has its full defenses up. How is the Soldier's fleet? It doesn't exist. That was a thing we were gonna build.
Construction complete.
Construction complete.
Right. I preempted the food shortage a little bit. I will need to build a lot more to make sure we're
Construction complete.
taking that into account. Okay, what do they have on the ground and in space? It's just the Dreadnought shipyard. This is more production structures, but it doesn't have the main capital. The 2 advanced vehicle factories are going to be a tricky one, but they don't have a ground-to-space weapon either. So I think we can handle that with what we have.
Tactical battle imminent.
It's only a Golan 1 and a Dreadnought shipyard. This is a place where we've benefited from rebuilding the campaign. I think in the future when I do, if I do any more campaign rebuilding, which seems like I probably will at some point,
Choose your
I'll probably
reinforcements.
be a bit more careful with, or put a bit more effort into getting the structure counts right for the enemy factions. It's hard to get their units right, because I also don't want to be like sitting there studying what they have to recreate it. But structures I can see without cheating, so it probably makes sense to do.
Reinforcements en route. Reinforcements cancelled.
Okay, without the hypervelocity gun, we can spread out a little bit more.
Reinforcements en route.
Waiting orders. Targeting.
All right, let's go for the
Over there.
raiders first. They do get a fair number of garrison raiders.
Firing.
Did you ever add the W165 planetary turbo laser? We might switch out the ion cannon and hypervelocity gun for certain things,
Eyes open.
but the thing with the planetary turbo laser is
Look out. No good.
it basically ends up with all the best qualities of both the ion cannon and the hypervelocity gun. Like, it'd end up being like the most
Yes, sir.
widely useful ground-to-space weapon, with none of the real drawbacks that make them potentially less annoying in certain situations. Like, the ion cannon is usually better in player hands, but at least when you're playing against them, the fact that, like, you can't counter ground-to-space stuff very effectively is the problem with how they're set up by default. So it's... they've got to have some limit to what they're able to do. With the hypervelocity gun, you can dodge them, and they don't contribute to your fleet's damage quite as much. The way they're set up in Empire War is like a problem fundamentally, but at least they each have like that element that makes them less useful. With if you have one that does shield and hull damage, then it's always able to both kill stuff on its own, which the ion cannon can't do, and contribute to your fleet's regular damage in a meaningful way, which the hypervelocity gun struggles to. Because usually, if you're using the hypervelocity gun on a ship that is already being targeted by your fleet, the shields have to be down already, and it's not usually the best use case for it. Like, you're not getting the most out of its capabilities to like bypass shields. So even though it seems like it'd be weaker than the hypervelocity gun for not being able to penetrate shields, it's getting the best of both worlds. If we're able to have more limits on when that kind of stuff is available, I really should have been more careful with the spacing on this. I've got everything super spread out. Probably going to lose a Battle Dragon on that as a result. But yeah, like, if we have more limits to how you can use them the same way that we've kind of added with the orbital bombardments and bombing runs, which are a bit more niche, at least now, than they tend to be in the base game. They have at least some more use case limits, and we might be able to explore other types more. But well, we've come up with some ideas for how we might want to handle that. There's nothing that's like solidly confirmed as the way we're going to do it. There's a few things with both them and like orbital bombardments that they're ultimately better being gone, really. Like, if it's just blank slate whether you add them or not, like there's ways to have them be healthy, but having them or not, usually I would have sided with not having them. But it's also the kind of thing where, like, if they're gone, it's going to cause a lot more complaints than anything. So it's more about like trying to find ways to change how and when they're used to make them a bit healthier, make them more engaging. Because like uncounterable, every 60 seconds there's just this huge chunk of damage that comes and wrecks everything you have. There's not really gameplay there. There's no counterplay. It's just... yeah. But I think with the way we put in stuff that prevents orbital bombardments and bombing runs from being used as effectively, they end up being more of an aspirational thing. Like, you work towards clearing the area of AA turrets, you've taken out the hypervelocity gun that might be stopping you from getting the orbital bombardment in, or you've taken down the base shield. So even if it's not like perfectly set up in every situation or something, I'd never say that. It does have more to it that adds to the gameplay of it, beyond just like sitting at the landing zone and using it. Like, we used to have it so that the orbital bombardment did kind of damage in a random area around, so it wouldn't kill everything in the zone, which kind of helps, but usually just feels worse for having used it. It feels less like you've worked towards getting a useful bombing run in, and more like it's just failed to accomplish anything by random chance. So that's part of why we reverted that. I think we've... Yeah, that's just engines now. Engines are less of a threat to your ships. As one of the best EAW strategists on YouTube, the best, I'm gonna say it, the best EAW strategist on YouTube, I can tell you, engines not a threat to your ships. We haven't put in ramming yet, so it's all good. They're not gonna do anything. Yeah, engine wash. Gotta turn every engine hardpoint into having a dummy that just has a really low damage projectile that shoots out for the really tactical gameplay. Some Imperial Reign content right there. When was the last save? 38, it's 8:48. Okay, I'm not gonna save yet.
Navigating to board.
We should be... Yeah, we should be positive on resources. Okay. Ethor, you're gonna get food. You seem like a good place for food and parts.
Building started.
Utric, food, parts,
Constructing.
stations. We'll definitely take Selagus on the way out.
Frigate here.
Construction complete. Invasion commencing.
So they have a Nemesis, they have ISPs, they have Pulsar Scouts. What's their advanced? They get 1 and 1 Siege. They get 2 ATDPs, 2 Time Maulers, 4 in reserve for each of those. And they'll have PTs, DPs, and TIE Crawler. Okay. So that should be 3 total TIE Crawlers. That's actually a fair amount that can hurt our infantry. I think I describe everything as a fair amount.
It is about time. It will be done.
Guarding the rear. We could cover
The gold days are still planned. I want to use them for somewhere. I don't know if it'll end up
Awaiting your
being
command.
Hapes that gets them necessarily. Like, with anything gold, I always have to... Gold or yellow, I always
Do you have a plan?
want to do it, and then I have to spend more time thinking, like, am I just advocating for this because I want everything to be yellow ultimately? So, probably, but whether it ends up working better for them or someone else, I don't know.
Constructing.
I'm here.
Like, oh, well, the Sea Ruby should be yellow. They should have yellow everything, and then the hut should be yellow. They should have yellow everything, and wouldn't it be cool if all the other stuff that everything fired was yellow?
adjusting navigation.
What is it, Commander?
So it's always
What is your order?
Constructing.
an attempt to be aware of
That location.
my own failing.
Copy that.
Alright. Fire Dragon, Artillery,
Affirmative, sir.
Water Dragon.
Adjusting navigation.
We'll try to get... Oh,
Where's the
I want to
next
actually
target?
select them.
Commander.
Oh,
Construction
there you go.
complete.
Don't get...
Ready to receive orders.
What do you need?
Yeah, we got a nice ATT.
Awaiting instructions.
You ever considered adding an option to TR that makes it so every week you get a message from the faction leader saying, "You did well, champ"?
Reporting.
No, but
Ready for
Charlie, when he first started playing Empire at War, he did message me asking if I can put that in, but it's Eck that's sending the message to him.
yes, sir.
And I just said it, like,
Heading
It's-
in that direction.
it's not lore accurate
Enemy,
enough,
yes, sir. Yes, Commander.
but we didn't.
Reporting in. Heading out. Providing backup.
Heavy vehicle
Roger
battery
that.
destroyed.
Fall out, troops.
What do you wish?
Reporting.
Alright, I'm
Form up.
gonna ignore the fact that we're probably gonna have something coming to our, to the east
Attacking target.
It is about time.
and just focus on trying to get to the other landing zone.
Commander, let's move out. Target east right.
I will strike. I will be there soon.
Come on, men. This way.
Which structure is going to be back there? Is that an advanced?
Yes, Commander. Awaiting your orders. Reporting.
Ooh, it is an advanced.
Ready for action.
Okay, you can come back and you can heal.
Ready. On the way.
You go into the middle.
Destination set.
Like, I'll land the next full group on that side. So, well, not a whole group.
Heading out, sir.
We'll send some stuff on this side at least.
Artillery online.
Bombing run available.
AT-AT ready. Proceeding to target. Yes, sir. Targeting. We've got your back. Keep going. Armor transport ready. Adjusting navigation.
Livette, you need to come in.
Reporting in. Roger that.
We really need to destroy that Nemesis. I think we're gonna lose the 4 ATTE to it. Oh my god, it lives. What a champion of the people.
Form up. Location.
Okay, go up on that side.
Awaiting.
Now we just gotta see if the,
Awaiting orders.
gotta see if the ATTE gets destroyed by the other tower. And it's not.
Initiate bombing run.
I want to take it with me.
Enemies in range. Awaiting orders.
Okay, don't go too far up. You still need your buddies. See you, Shadow.
Moving into
Thanks for
position.
coming out.
I copy. I copy. Right away. I copy. Reporting.
Alright, I think we can get over to this other landing zone. Which I'll build a field base on. Obviously, I can't land anything on it, though. They don't need to crouch their way in here. Okay, you do need to crouch your way in there. That's AV. The other tower's there, but I think it's gonna head over to this larger group.
Fallout troop. Right with you, sir.
When I started this map, I thought it would turn out to be shit, but I handed it over to Rogue and it ended up being pretty decent. I think most of the layout is still my original setup, which I was kind of worried about. Alright. Thank you, PA. You are now pretty much done. Laura was asking, if you had to make Lore Master into an EAW trait, what would the benefits be from having it? That character would have a bonus to income because they'd be able to make a YouTube channel.
Building under construction.
Beginning construction.
Oh, who's going to attack? They're invading Q-Trick. I am going to save before they invade Q-Trick. There's some guy who likes going around harassing Star Wars YouTubers on Twitter. Especially like Star Wars Explained. And he just says some really gross and horrible shit to people. But he tried to say something to me and then about having a failing YouTube channel and a bunch of other stuff. I said, actually, it's 2 failing YouTube channels, and then he deleted his tweet. I'd never seen him do before. I enjoyed it. that could have been a longer story. It could have made a lot more sense if I'd bothered to go into more detail, but I didn't feel like it. So no one else was supposed to enjoy that besides me.
Construction complete.
Construction complete.
Okay, we need to move this fleet over to Cutric. That's got to be an Imperial assault coming in.
Tactical battle imminent.
We've only got a level 1 here, right? Yeah. I mean, we don't have a shipyard. I kind of want to see if we can do anything with that. Well, I do have the Clips channel now, but this was like, I think the day I made it, and it felt a little premature to say 3 at that point. Like, things weren't getting that serious with it. But now that it's at 150 subs and the first of the videos has hit 2K views, like now it's kind of like I'm willing to be a bit more open about that. Instantly ashamed. Instantly. You saw that tweet, you just deleted it right away.
Ready. Orbital command available.
They like filter in, we might be able to kill them, but even though it's mostly lasers, that's still a reasonable amount of damage they can do.
At your command.
We just have like the one bite
Receiving
in the
message.
kill. You have enough turbos. But then there's also like, do I mention the Twitch channel? Is that worth it? But it felt
Decoding transmission.
felt like losers and datapad were the only directly relevant ones at that point. I really fucking suck at texturing the inside of hangars. That's something that I basically need to go back through on all of my ships and
Locked on.
redo.
Prepare for evasive maneuver. I copy.
Okay, these Mytils are not gonna get anything out of this.
Station ready. Look out! Loosen up. Orbital command available. At your command. Open fire. My stabilizer's broken loose. Blast, my stabilizer's broken loose.
This is not a battle that I feel like I'll be able to micro my way out of. I'll just mash healing. Oh, I won't.
Orbital command available. At your command. Target locked. Keep your eyes open. We're drawing their fire.
Space station damaged.
There it is. That's how I microed the shit out of it. Killed just enough that the auto-resolve wins.
Construction complete.
Top EAW strategist on 2 failing YouTube channels. Because Datapad technically doesn't have any EAW on it.
Constructing.
Beginning
I don't even like eating cheese, but I'll use it there.
construction complete.
We're heading out.
Construction
Alright.
complete.
Since we're only taking Glagus up there, you are now part of the Southern Forces. And Commodore has 5 influence. What's its base credit value? 400. I think we'll do the double. Just for that one.
Constructing.
And we
Beginning
have food and
construction.
parts, an ion cannon.
Building
And a
under
station.
construction. Constructing.
Building started. Building
I don't know why I'm doing that when Tachim is literally just sitting right next door.
constructing.
2,
Beginning construction.
Construction complete.
Nebulon B.
Then we get to have the Hapen faction in Imperial Reign, where we can have Nikorish and Solder's older brother as heroes.
Construction complete.
I think you only need a level 3 as your secondary.
Moving out.
We can send this guy into...
Construction.
No, he's gonna be still up here. We're gonna send Tatshum back home.
Beginning construction.
Beginning
Nebulon B.
construction.
Brigadier.
Alright. Yay, Sevro and Liana get some more money.
Beginning construction.
And we can get a probe droid or two here.
Unit.
I've not taken Mandalore yet, no.
Construction complete. Construction complete.
Construction complete.
Construction complete. Construction complete.
That must have been from Linod. We'll get about 100 extra credits for Salagus. You'll upgrade you.
Heading out.
The Haven Starbase is built quite fast, so
Started.
All out.
be able to get through there. Alright, now we want to check out and but I literally just saved, so I don't know why I'm looking at that again. Ariado is taking Typhera. They're just, everyone's having some struggles down there, aren't they? It's been a while since we've checked some charts. Charts are important. Charts are the main reason to play this game for me. This and any other game, it's all charts. Everything's a chart if you try hard enough. Solace, you are not supposed to be here, Mallory troops. Mist Carrier,
Reinforcements.
Tarta, Hesha.
Reinforcements en route. Reinforcements cancelled. Reinforcements en route.
Oh, actually, maybe we'll pull the pulsars out of this fleet and use it to protect Ord Mantell, since they've been so proactive themselves recently. Rather than... Since there's been requests for more battle cam, rather than play the game all good stuff. They were probably building all this up here thinking like, oh, look at how cool we're gonna be. We're gonna be able to send in all of our cool ships from Salagus, and they'll help us take all this new northern territory. And then they did. They died. Everyone's staying still now? Okay. You can go kill the shipyard. This is just how every Imperial sounds. Either that or Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
I've got my approach vector. Targeting at maximum firepower. I've got a fix. Going for the lasers. I'll try and draw their fire. Plotting course. I'll try and draw their fire.
I don't know why Marcel always makes me sad.
Attack formation. Attack formation. I've got him lined up. Loosen up.
It somehow seems like such a bleak world that Marcel lives in.
Decrease to full throttle. Yes, sir. I'm in range. I'm in range.
Okay, you only get 2 weapons. You don't want to fire at those. I could pop the ability on.
Let's do some damage.
It's flying into the other stuff, and I want all the damage onto the shipyard. I saw the explosions, and I thought it was on the coronal instead of being the dreadnoughts in front of it.
Coming around. That's it. Scratch one. Attack.
Is there anything actually around that? No, or else the bombers would be
Draw their fire.
less happy with themselves.
Got one.
Ooh, stay safe, Spirit Star.
I've got my approach vector. I'm in range. Rendezvous at mark. 6.1. I'm in range. Fire.
That's shitty.
Rendezvous at mark. 6.1. Hold on. Enemy unit disabled. Swinging around. Increase to full throttle. Stay in attack formation.
Okay. Trade port, nearly dead. Then it's just what? 3 IPVs, 2 Carracks. Let's get those taken care of. Taken Carrack of. Haha. Haha.
I'll try and draw their fire. Standing by. Open fire. Ready for orders. Reporting in. I'm in range. Attack formation. That's it. Scratch one. There's one on me. Ah!
It's just the IPVs now. Come on. Come on.
Can we go around for another pass? I've got my approach vector. Attack formation. Enemy unit disabled. I'm in range.
There we go.
Are victorious.
Now it's dead. James Grant is asking, what game are you guys going to play tomorrow after TapCap? So the usual X2 stream this week is actually going to be on Friday. So probably Fortnite, maybe something else in there as well. I'm going to be doing it as part of the 12-hour stream.
Achieved.
Building under construction.
I think I'll stream something else after TapCap tomorrow. I'm just not sure what. I may end up also just working on something else instead. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see.
Construction complete.
Building under construction.
Because I'd like to edit another datapad video this week before doing the 12-hour stream.
Construction complete.
Building started.
I'd normally want to get this corporation, but
Building under construction.
we don't have... We're not going to be building as much of the default stuff. So, get Corey on Wayward Son,
Construction.
keeping Hoedown, keeping to please you,
Construction complete.
and Ghost of Night's Revenge.
Vector is
Then on Hapes itself, we will get Pocahontas and Mandator 3 Hape Hype.
Construction complete.
We can also get We Don't Talk About Fondor and Battlestar Galactica.
right away.
Over to Contrum, we'll be able to queue up a few more. And invade Cutric. They're doing it again.
Tactical battle imminent.
Okay, this time, yeah, this time I think they got it.
Construction complete.
No! How dare you? He is about to invade Liana.
Construction complete. Construction complete.
Well, the joke's gonna be on them,
Battle imminent.
because we're going from here straight to Moncal. They don't have a ground-to-space weapon. How do they have Hast set up? Okay, Hast is nearly empty. Like a bigger station, less on ground.
The enemy has been spotted.
you ever make a relatively big fleet tender ship, would you make a hard point that if destroyed prevents it from healing ship? You can't really introduce new hard point types. There's ways that may sort of be possible, but it'd be kind of wonky. We already have the Altor, and that's kind of what it was. It's about as big as the fleet tender ships get.
Roger that.
Okay, we're gonna move these back. They've got no choice but to come to us now. Heck is all better.
Form up. Awaiting orders. Copy.
Alright, come on.
I copy.
Bombers.
Attacking target. Reporting. Fire at will.
I think we can just go.
Put your deflectors
We don't
on.
need to wait. Are you gonna stream Edge of Despair campaign anymore? Is that done? We want to get back to it. It's just, it's a lot of work for Kalo especially to set up. So it's really dependent on him having time and then everyone being able to get together. So hopefully we'll be able to continue that campaign. We'd kind of do it as a soft relaunch. I was talking to him relatively recently about it. But
Coming around. Enemy unit disabled.
yeah, like the hope is that we were able to restart or continue it, but I can't say with 100% confidence.
Attacking. I've got my approach vector. The enemy has got locked.
There was at least one episode that never made it to YouTube. It was only on Twitch.
Swinging around.
They still have saved somewhere, I think.
I can't shake him. Swinging around. Target's coming in fast.
But when you start having so many so many weeks or months between sessions where even the players start forgetting what was going on, it makes it less good for streaming as well. So that's kind of why if we do restart it, I'd want to kind of frame the new one, the next episode is like an episode 1 of that, like reestablish where we are and go from there so that people don't have to go back and watch the start of campaign 1. Otherwise, I'd want to do some like one-shots or something, see if Bob still wants to GM some adventures, because there was at least one thing that I know he did want to run,
I've got him lined up.
and maybe we'd be able to do another one-shot with like the Abaddon Hail crew, who I still want to add as like a Easter egg hero set in EAWX.
Squadron reporting. Targeting.
Like I really love doing all the tabletop stuff. It was just so hard to organize.
Standing by.
I know like Shaq and Wasted and them do it a lot, so I'd love to do something with them again sometime too. But that's less up to me. Hello, Fireman. Alright, we are going to save the game there, and that is going to do it for this episode, I think. So I should actually, yeah, I think we should actually call it there. So thank you all for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the stream and the episode. We'll be back next week with some more Hapen stuff. We're probably getting towards the end of the campaign. We're still going for all the shipyard stuff, so we'll see how long it takes us to get through the core. But we're going to be going for this like Eastern New Republic stuff, then for the core, then for the South. So we're probably 1 or 2 main streams and then the streamed finale away from finishing the campaign, at which point we'll figure out what we're doing next. I'm not 100% sure what that's going to be. It'll hopefully be after EAWX Con. We'll have a few more things done to show off with Point 3. But thanks again for watching, everyone. Have a good night, and see you tomorrow. Bye.